Dude, sorry. I couldn't figure out how to go live. It was weird. Okay. I think this is good. Alright, cool, we're in here. So let me get all this shit together. And yeah. Okay, cool. Everybody can hear me? I hope everybody can hear me. I'm trying to. Hi, Cheyenne. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Thumbs up if you guys can hear me. This is like I haven't been live in like forever. So, okay, cool. I'm so glad you guys are tuning in. The reason why I'm doing this live is because so many people are talking about coronavirus. No, I'm kidding. Not that it's a laughing or joking matter. However, I'm watching a couple of people who I actually know succumb to the symptoms, having to take their children into the hospitals. Everybody's wanting to get tested. Nobody's getting tested, or at least they're not trying to test people for whatever reasons. People are having challenges with getting tested. And then everyone's just confused about like, what were your symptoms? What were your symptoms? What were your symptoms? Etc. Now, so I don't know if anybody recalls back in, I'm just gonna like roll right into it. This is a video about how, what my symptoms were, okay, how long they lasted, and what I did to treat myself. For those who recall, I went on a cruise. Cruise, right? That's a hot subject. I went on a cruise. At the time, the COVID-19 was just kind of starting, or that we had only limited to China, and cruise ships were being like stopped there, or held up in many different areas of the world. And some of the emails we were getting were just like, if you visited China, if you visited China, then you will not be, in the past 2 weeks, and you'll not be able to board the cruise. At the time, that was the only restriction, being that I had not visited China in the last 2 weeks. Me nor any of my family members, we were able to board the cruise. While up on the cruise, everything was fine. I went from February of this year, February 8th to the 15th. And this was porting out of somewhere in Florida. Can't remember, Tampa, Orlando, one of those cities. So, oh, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, so from there, I went from Tampa, Florida, Orlando, Florida, one of the Floridas, to Honduras, Cozumel, Honduras, Cozumel, Roatan, Honduras, Cozumel, Mexico, Puerto Maya, Mexico, and Belize City, Belize. And those were the stops that we made. By the time we had hit, I'll never forget, I was at Honduras. I was at this little place called Little French Key, and I was there. By the time I got off that island, and I got off that island, by the time I got back into the room, I then started, like later on that evening, I started experiencing some throat irritation. I didn't think nothing of it. So within those last 2 days I was on the boat, it started to get progressively worse, and I developed a cough. At the time, I'm thinking just post-nasal drip, no big deal. It's post-nasal drip. Sometimes I'll get post-nasal drip. Now, rarely do I get post-nasal drip, but I've had it. Excuse me. Sure, it's quiet time. But I've had post-nasal drip. I'd also like to throw out there that I am a very fairly healthy individual. I rarely get sick. And if I do have any type of symptoms of illness, it'll typically be post-nasal drip. No fevers, no coughs, no aches or chills. That's typically as good as bad, maybe a headache. And that's typically just because I'm dehydrated. But as I said, I got back on the boat from Moatan, Honduras, and I was like feeling it. I then remember like, I'm gonna go to the steam room because that'll help me. So I remember going to the steam room and me just being like, okay, this is okay. By the time I got off the boat, I was coughing a lot. Coughing. Just could not stop. Uncontrollable coughing. Always having to go here, always doing this. And I was like, okay, I got the little itch in my throat. I had a sore throat, but it wasn't terrible sore throat pain. Not like strep throat. I've had strep throat before, I believe in like junior high or high school, and I remember like I couldn't eat with strep throat. I could still eat, I could still drink, I just always was coughing. coughing. Even with like taking deep breaths, I was coughing. So, by the time it had hit the 17th, like, and this is, I got off the boat on the 15th. By the time, so probably like around the 12th or 13th of February, by the time I hit February 17th, I was on Facebook like, guys, I don't think I'm okay. And my friends were like diagnosing me with like, maybe it's laryngitis, because I was just coughing uncontrollably. Like, and at night is when it got significantly worse. At night, I mean, literally having to crawl out of the bed over and over again to like cough up mucus, etc. There was, and I'm gonna get into the things that I took and what I think helped and what didn't help me, but just like really bad. So, the cough, so then by the time I had hit maybe the 17th also, maybe 16th, the day before, I lied. Before I got off the boat, I had already was losing my voice. By the time I got off the boat, my voice was gone, but it was a rasp. Very low rasp, but it was gone. I could barely speak words. Certain words I would say would just completely disappear with breath. However, I didn't have a headache. Maybe. No, I mean, I said I didn't have fever. I had a headache. And when I got off the boat on the 15th, and by the time I got to my house later in the afternoon, that evening, I was like experiencing nausea from the maybe 15th to the 16th. I was experiencing nausea. I was like, God, like I was just thinking maybe I'm trying to like level myself out from being on a boat for a week and then coming from tropical climate to like the US weather, especially here in California where we obviously have lots of smog. So I was just like, all right, maybe, that's maybe why I'm getting drained back to my throat. Maybe this is why I'm coughing so bad. This makes sense for me. I think that's what's going on, right? So by the time the 17th had rolled around, I was, like I said, coughing uncontrollably at night, to the point where I was having to get up multiple times at night. And I remember it getting so bad where I coughed up blood. So, but prior to coughing up blood, I was having to sleep with throat lozenges, sleeping with them. I was sleeping with throat lozenges. I was having to put something in my throat to like help me suppress how bad the coughing was. So, from there, Satori, go watch Elsa. Yes. So from there, I was like, all right, I think I have laryngitis. And then at the time I put it on Facebook, my family, my aunt was like, they're saying for the new virus, that's how it's starting off. It's starting off at laryngitis. That was my friend who went online and was like, I think you got laryngitis. So I was like, maybe that sounds right. I kind of looked it up. I was like, yeah, I guess that's it. Now I'm already about to be a week into these symptoms. But I always had a ball in my throat. I had a ball in my throat that just did not go away. Yes.
I finished my first nap.
Okay, continue the rest.
I haven't finished.
Continue the rest. I had a ball in my throat, and it just did not go away. And the pain would get worse at night. The pain would get worse at night. I have a high pain tolerance. For some, I'm sure it could have been considered unbearable. But for me, I have a very high pain tolerance, and I just dealt with the fact that I had pain in my throat. Like I just swallowed it, like it's this there, I have it, but it's not enough that's taking me completely out. So I sat here and I just worked with it. At this. So this lasted for me. By the time I had started coughing a little bit of blood, I remember just getting up and like coughing and like blood, like I didn't even know the blood was spattering. I looked at it, found out later. I'm like, dang, I'm coughing up blood. That was, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. So, excuse me. So from there, I then started kind of like, all right, well, I don't have a fever, right? I started kind of Googling stuff. I was like, well, I don't have a fever, and it's not something that's preventing me from getting up, walking around, still attending stuff. At this time, I was still out and about, not thinking that I'm infectious. I did, however, realize like, okay, I'm pretty sick. And I mean, it got to the point where like I was being encouraged, like, okay, maybe you should go to the hospital. Like, this is going on for a very long time. I went over 2 weeks, maybe even I think a good solid 3 weeks in a day, if that, or maybe I just know it was over 2 weeks because the cough subsided about 2 weeks. The sore ball, the ball hurt too, but it wasn't excruciating. At night, it would be more sharp pain, but it wasn't like where I just couldn't deal. But that's me. That's me. I can deal with a lot of pain. But I do know that pain is a signal like, hey, something's wrong. And like I said, my cough got to the point where I was like coughing up blood. I did one time cough up blood. It wasn't a lot, but it was significant enough to show up on the sheets and the pillowcases. So I'm like, all right, but I didn't think to go in and say, okay, I need to go to the hospital because I was still thriving, I was still eating, and the symptoms were subsiding. By the time it hit second week, the cough was going down a little bit. My throat was, it seemed as if the ball and the pain was getting less. The ball was getting smaller and the pain was getting less. So I was like, all right, I don't think I need to go to the hospital. I see everybody's talking about this corona, but I think, unless I'm aware that I don't need to go to an emergency room unless my symptoms are not manageable, right? Unless my symptoms are not manageable. So I stayed home. Now, here we go. I know I've been asked whether I was actually tested for corona COVID-19. No, I did not actually go get tested for corona COVID-19. I did not actually take any swab, pull blood, or anything to say, hey, I am diagnosing you from a medical professional that you have corona COVID-19. I did not do that. My symptoms that I was experiencing were manageable. So therefore, I did not feel the need to, as a single mother, take myself and 2 children into a hospital setting or emergency room to tell me whether or not I'm sick with something they can't do anything about. That wasn't what I was going to do. Same thing I would do for any other manageable illness that I'm running into. I don't go to see a medical professional unless I for sure am becoming like deathly ill. However, if you are a person that is experiencing symptoms that are not manageable and you're running an extremely high fever that you cannot bring down and that you are becoming extremely sick and you need professional support, then yes, you do need to go to the hospital. I am hearing that people are still struggling to get tested, even if they are extremely sick. I know a friend who has a child right now, and she had to fight for an hour and some change to be able to have the CDC tell the hospital or some sort that her son should get tested. So with that being said, let me tell you what I did to support my immune system during this time. As I read all of the symptoms for COVID and Corona, I do believe that that's exactly what I had. Just as like if I would read any types of symptoms from a flu, people will go around and say, I have the flu. If anybody is like, for example, when we look at things like chicken pox or something, they would say, hey, I have the chicken pox, or I have these things. And they don't necessarily need a doctor to tell those things. I was able to read the symptoms and say, okay, this is exactly what they've been saying is going on. It makes so much sense because me as a healthy individual who, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't smoke, I don't drink. I do not have any asthma. I've never had any type of respiratory illnesses or long-term problems that would have me be sick for so long. I was actually experiencing this for about a good 3 weeks. So it was a very, very good amount of time, to the point where, my friends, my close friends, family, my ex was very concerned. Like, I think you need to go see somebody. I do think, like, if I had to say, like, why didn't I have a fever? Well, I never tested for a fever, but I don't recall ever being so hot where I had chills. I think that's a testament to my immune system. So I am going to go ahead and just be thankful for that. And then everything that I was doing, as soon as I experienced the cough and the sore throat, I immediately started taking supplements to take care of myself. So, with that being said, let me just go ahead and go into what it is that I did and how I supported my children's immune systems, because I was like, hey, I'm obviously very sick. There was no doubt in my mind that I was experiencing something that I had never experienced before. As a very healthy individual who eats fairly well, with a lot of nutrition, and my children. So I was like, so I also started treating my children as if they were sick. So I was like fortifying their immune systems, kind of just getting back onto their flow of like the supplements that they take and the foods that they're eating, trying to really outline our bodies out, to make sure that whatever I was experiencing, they were not going to get. At least try to prevent that. So let's dive into it. Okay, all done. All done. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay.
No.
Okay, so you're gonna help. All right, so let's go. Immediately what I started with, as soon as I started experiencing the sore throat and the cough, I was like, all right, my body's under attack. Something that has been given to me to pass along is colloidal silver. This is the first one. I don't know if this is showing up clear for you. This is colloidal silver. Please follow the dosage correctly, but this is something that I immediately start taking. It has been known to treat many things, infections, etc. As a person that believes and supports in natural medicine, this is it. Also, I did lose my sense of smell. I did lose my sense of smell as well. I lost my sense of smell and a bit of my taste as well. Things were tasting different and things did not smell the way that they were. And that was really interesting for me, because as a mother of two, my sense of smell is amazing. And it was I immediately became aware that my sense of smell had diminished drastically. Even like black soap has a very strong scent. I could not smell it. I could not smell black soap. So that was like, whoa, okay. And I remember after the second week, they're like, maybe you should go see somebody. I'm like, well, I'm not ill. Like, in my mind, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm really, 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 really sick, even though I was coughing and had a sore throat. All right, so the colloidal silver, I started taking that, and I also gave it to my kids. I took it every day, and I gave it to my kids maybe every few days, because they were okay. I just do little drops for them. I took a cocktail of supplements every day. That was this vitamin D3. I don't know if you guys can see that or if it's showing up properly. Oh man, that sucks. I think it's the glare of the sun. Here's that. And they are saying that losing a sense of smell is another symptom of COVID. I've never been sick enough where I lost sense of smell. It was weird. And I didn't have nasal congestion. So for all those who thought maybe I was having like a nasal, I had no nasal congestion. So I took a cocktail of vitamin D3 and this probiotic supplement by Kyodophilus. It's one of my favorites. I took this. I started upping that, and it's digestion and immune health. It restores balance and protects, and this is amazing. They say it's formulated with 3 specially cultured non-dairy heat-stable stomach acid-resistant human strains of beneficial bacteria. I also give this to my kids. So this was the one I was taking, and then I immediately made sure to start administering to my kids every day. This is the kids one. It's a chewable. It's a vanilla chewable, and they love it. I've never had any problems with it. I can't see. Oh, here we go. I just have to come even closer. Boom. That's the kids version. I started upping my chlorophyll into my water. For all those, chlorophyll is amazing. It increases the amount of oxygen available in its cells. Obviously, when you're trying to treat illness, you absolutely want to add more oxygen to it. So I started doing this. This, you just add to your water. Drop it to your water. There are suggested use instructions on each one of these bottles. Let me see. I'm going to go over everything I gave the kids too. This is a multivitamin. At the time, I was just using, I had the Smarty Pants Woman's Multi. I was using the Smarty Pants Woman Multi. It was amazing. I love it. And then when I ran out, I got this one. This is a vegan, all natural food. You can absolutely use it. So, I mean, those who do not eat meat or do not use anything with animal product, this is actually vegan. Yes, all the items that I use are listed in the link in the caption, and you can find it with the link in bio on my Instagram, but it'll be there. As soon as it ends, I'll double check that it's there, and I'll list every single one. This is, I upped on my echinacea too. So, and one thing I did do when I was coughing so bad, I was like, well, you know, the way at the time my mind was working, I was like, man, I'm coughing so bad. Maybe it's something inside. So I tried to take a little bit of activate charcoal. I was like, maybe it's just something in here. Maybe it'll soak it up. The way I thought activated charcoal was supposed to work. I was like, let me just take one of these. I threw it up so bad. I just threw it all up. I said, okay, I'm really sick. I was coughing. I just threw it all up. I was just throwing that up. I was like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore because I didn't like throwing up. But I did activate charcoal. But I had mucus, so I was throwing up all the mucus. Please stop. This is everything. Hold, here, play this one. This is everything that I gave the children. Excuse me, it's quiet time. This is echinacea. That's not fair. This is echinacea. Satori, stop it. Here, do you want this one? That echinacea I used and I gave to the girls. It kind of, you just open this up. They have dosage uses on the back. I just take a little bit, say I just drop a little bit and call it a day. And then this was my saving grace. Oh, and this First Defense. This is an immune booster from a child life. I swear up and down by it. Anytime the children were experiencing any symptoms that made them sick, I use this. Amazing stuff. First Defense, I give it to them. They can kick everything fast. And like I said, I will list everything in the caption. But this right here was what I was drinking every day. And it got even better when I actually started adding fresh ginger to my teas. So I was making a tea, a soursop tea. If you guys are familiar with soursop tea, so soursop tea is known to boost the immune system, good for hair, skin, and nails, energy, etc. but mostly for the immune system. And the fruit that it bears, or the fruit that comes from the soursop, okay, these are soursop leaves, but the soursop fruit is actually known to help treat cancer. That's what it's known for. Like some of the studies are saying like this is good for cancer cells. Like it helps keep the immune system really good, and because the actual fruit in the soursop actually looks like a cell. So yeah. So this is the Fruits and Roots soursop one. I get it from Fruits and Roots. But I also ran across a good one that was sent to me. We Are Organic. I can list those in the caption. So I would do that tea, and then I would add this. This I got from the Natural Product Expo some time ago, and it is amazing. This like helped change the game. So this is apple cider vinegar, which we know apple cider vinegar is good for the body in some doses, and then it comes with manuka honey with ginger and turmeric. I would put that, it would actually help take the cough down, and I would put that in the tea. I put that in the tea and then cut up fresh ginger and squeeze lemon in there. And I was drinking that like twice a day. I was drinking that twice a day, and I was giving it to the girls. And now we know turmeric is a good for inflammation. So I'm glad that you can. So please use that to kind of like bring the inflammation down. I think it was very, very helpful in my cough. Now, if you are experiencing some fever and it's manageable, right? It's a low-grade fever and you're not spiking, having chills. I have used belladonna for me and my children. Rarely, I know it works. Like I feel like if it's something that I actually have to give some belladonna, it actually is a poisonous poisonous plant. But with like small dosages and if you're properly following the usage, you can help treat a fever that way. And it's also good for those who are having like respiratory issues. So yeah. Anyway, so this is everything that I used and did to like treat myself while I was experiencing all of the symptoms that they say is for COVID-19. At the time, we weren't testing people like that, and it had not hit, and this was prior to the lockdown. Once again, I was experiencing this from February 12th, and then about 2.5-3 weeks from there. So this is how I treated and cared myself. This is what I also used and gave to my children to kind of like up their immune systems while I was experiencing those very hard symptoms. And I really wanted to kind of share that with everyone, because everyone's kind of like, what do you do? And one of the most important things that we can do at this time is keep supporting our immune system. We're like in the house, and we're probably eating a lot of processed foods. Oil of oregano is really good. I actually have a pill that has oil of oregano in it, and I was using, I forgot the small ones. There's also a throat spray I was using too. It has oregano oil in it, and that was really good. So I really just kind of wanted to share that with my village, all the things that I was doing, to treat myself, all the things that I was experiencing, because I don't think anybody's talking about what you can do to help yourself when you're feeling this sick. So like I said, but if you're not able to manage your symptoms, please go and seek a medical professional that can help you thrive. But this is all the stuff, oh wait, here it is all back here, that I was using. And like I said, this liquid that I would add to my tea, clutch during that time. And when I started actually cutting up real ginger and putting ginger in the tea, I did start seeing some significant difference in like the lessening of my cough and the support of my throat. So that is everything. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please put it in the comments. I'm gonna go through them and try to help out as much as I can, continue to share my story with what I was experiencing. I know someone had asked if I actually contacted the cruise line. I did not. I didn't even think to do that. It did make sense though when I started seeing all of the cruise lines that were having those challenges, and I'm like, it would make sense. And when I did get off in Honduras, there were Italians actually sitting next to me. Not to say that those Italians had it, but obviously we're seeing that Italy had a lot of it was transmitting very fast over there, transferring from one person to another. And I was actually next to some people that were Italian, and they were speaking in Italian, and also Asians. I don't know if they were Chinese or not. They looked it. If I had to say if they were Chinese, they looked Chinese. Not to say that it's, and I do not believe that it's I would not call it a Chinese virus. So yes, this is what I did. This is how I supported me during this time. And I would absolutely recommend these products for everyday use. Now I'm very intentional about making sure I'm taking these supplements every day. These are all just immune booster things to help you feel good. Oh, and sea moss. Sea moss is also something that's very important. It can help you with. It just helps, replenish some minerals in your body. All these things are the things that you need to fight off viruses and infections into your body. So, like I said, do these things, support yourself through this time. Everybody doesn't have access. I think when a lot of people are always saying to us, especially when I say us, I'm talking about Black people, people of color, that, oh, you need to go to the doctor, or, oh, you should have just did this. I think that we forget that that is a very privileged statement. So many of us do not have access to be able to go do those things, and we rely upon the support and the wisdom of our elders and those who have experienced these things, and that can provide support in these ways, right? That's like, okay, how can I thrive and take care of myself during this time that doesn't take away from me in extreme financial hardships, or prevent me or put me in a space where I'm like now SOL, so, or that I don't have health care. And this idea of like cure, how we define cure, I think I'm noticing that we only like to link cure to that which comes out from a laboratory or a white lab coat. And our immune system cures things all the time. I am not against medication, Western medication, or any type of sophisticated support that comes out of a hospital. All I know is that until I need it, right, I'm able to take care of myself with nature and water and listening to my body. So, and so let us just be clear on like how we constantly push to Black people to throw ourselves in a space that oftentimes has been very harmful to us. And so I think that we forget that, and COVID doesn't make it all of a sudden the hospital the safest place for us. So I just want to put that out there. So any way that I can continue to share in a way that helps people, my village, especially people who look like me, to be stronger and feel better and support themselves through any type of infection, then I'm going to do that. And I would appreciate it if we are able to see it as that. Do as you want with this information. Like I said, if your symptoms are unmanageable, please go and seek the professional help that you need. I am not a certified doctor. I'm not a licensed doctor. I am not a certified physician or a licensed physician. I am a mother who has experienced all the symptoms that are of COVID or Corona, and had them for about 3 weeks. And I'm sharing with you guys what I did to support my body to function as best as it could and to get back to optimal health, to sustain my days and continue to show up for my children. I hope that, and this is also something that, like I said, that you can take every day. So I really hope that this information has supported you guys and you liked it. Please like, comment, and share. Like I said, I will continue to put a list of, put a list as well as a into there is a link right now where I listed all of them in Amazon, like so that you could see all of them and you can get what is needed. I already was told like so many of the stuff had been pushed back till April, but all this stuff is good that you can definitely implement and should implement in your everyday. So, video's up. I shall check in later. Thank you guys so much.